So looking at worksheet 5, number 14. Yeah, x-intercepts is a fancy term for roots and for y equals 0. So we'll plug in 0 for y. And then now it's just like all the other equations. So let's add 3 and divide by 4. Again, hopefully you can do some of these steps at once so you don't take up forever. Hopefully everyone's beyond, when you first learned, you wrote plus 3 and plus 3. And then you wrote divided by. Hopefully you're a little bit beyond that. You're still doing that. You just don't have to write it all out. How do we undo the squared? Square root. And then don't forget the plus or minus. When you square root, you've got to put the plus or minus on there. And everybody remembers it when I say it, or even if I just say, hey, what's going on here, or don't forget, but if you're working on your own, will you remember it? I don't know. We can square root the top and the bottom separately, and the square root of 4 is 2, so that actually works out well because that's a unit circle type answer. The plus or minus, remember I think we're convinced that the plus or minus is good news. Why is it good news? It's all the quadrants, so I don't have to worry about cosine's positive on the right, negative on the left. True statement, but it doesn't really matter. What's the denominator where cosine is root 3 over 2? 6. So it'll be all the sixes, all the shallows. Pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. So we did a factoring one, number 13. Did a square root one, plus or minus. I want to do one more. Well, I guess 6 more, but the graph, the picture, the graph is already given and we ask a bunch of questions about it. Because there is one like that on the test. They're not difficult as long as you understand what's being asked. So part A, what is the period of h of t? So the period is, how wide the window is before it starts over. Or just where does it start over, I guess, is one question to ask. So what's the period of this graph? Pi. So we graph it all the way to 2 pi, but it starts over right here at pi, so the period is pi. What is the maximum height obtained by the particle? Well, that would be there and there, but either way, the height is 2. So h is 2. Question C. At what time is the particle on the t-axis? Okay, well, it's on the axis at 0, at pi over 2, at pi, at 3 pi over 2, and at 2 pi. Color coding my answers. On what time intervals is the particle below the x-axis? And the question said interval, so this isn't going to be t equals, this is going to be an interval. So we're below the x-axis. Let's see. From there to there, I guess it's the t-axis, but we're below in the green. So that would be from pi over 2 to pi. And I think I probably want to use, I'm not going to count off for this, but I would use parentheses rather than brackets. Because brackets means include it, but it's not below the axis at those points. It's on the axis at those points. So that's kind of a technical point. But I don't want to include those points. And then from 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi, where it's below. Question E. On what time intervals, so again, this isn't going to be t equals 7, this is going to be an interval, is the particle's position increasing? So that means where is it going up? Oh, it's going up there, there, and there. Right. So I'm just looking at where my graph is increasing. So that would be from 0 to pi over 4. From 3 pi over 4 to 5 pi over 4. And 7 pi over 4 to 2 pi. Again, it's not a hard question, but I don't think we've seen one quite like that before. And I'm running out of colors up here. On what time intervals is the particle's position decreasing? So that'd be when it's going down. Now the highlighting isn't necessary, but if it helps you see it. So it goes down from pi over 4 to 3 pi over 4. And 5 pi over 4 to 7 pi over 4. Again, intervals. It's always frustrating when the question asks for intervals. This happens in calculus a lot. And students say t equals pi over 4. Like, well, that's not an interval, that's a spot. So the question itself can give you a hint as to what kind of answer you should have. Interval versus at what time.